take a slow morning walk and behold the sun on the horizon. I promise to fire up the brain neurotransmitters that will double your output for the day. See, your mind might be asking, take a break, do something different, and I'll give you more later. I'm not going to cry again. I swear to God, I cry. But when I hit the truths of the truths that took me decades to dig into, that I can put in one sentence, it literally almost gets me to cry. I'm glad. I always feel relieved when I write these things down and share them because I feel like I cannot believe I'm going to cry. I'm in a podcast room. I'm going to cry. It's taking all of these big learnings over decades and just getting it to a dense, simple, doable thing that you can use today. And I just feel relieved. I always feel like I handed that over. Now I can die. That's how I feel. I feel like all my stuff that's handwritten in boxes, once I get it written and shared, I'm like, there, that's one more that's handed over. So your body, going from mind to body, your body may disclose, if you help me to do hard things, but build in playful recovery, I'll be stronger for you on the next go round. And the play is an addictive dopamine hit that will make it all easier for you to do. Naked yoga and all of the things is what we're going to talk about here on KindEdge.com today, because you can do something new to open your mind, open your experiences, invite in new things, and do the big picture before all the conscious curation that we have to do to change and achieve big change in our lives. You have to taste test the world and open your brain's neurotransmitters, but also just create space in your life for something new. So naked yoga is something that I did to try something new and daunting and get my brain neurotransmitters working in a different way. I also took an art class, which is very foreign to me. It is not something that feels normal to me. I painted a picture of my dog, and what I found was incredible is that just the concept of noticing colors and actually seeing the truth of the color. Our eyes do not see what is true. And there are scientific experiments that have been done in psychology where there's a very famous psychology experiment where you will see a gray bar, a solid gray bar against a gradient scale background, but your eye sees the solid gray bar as a gradient color changing bar. And then, of course, you remove the background and you see, I was like the exact same object that you were just looking at. Something in the environment changed and what you believed you were seeing changed. And so testing out all these things in real life, testing our brain neurotransmitters, testing our assumptions, testing what we think is right for us is an action-oriented, constant task that we need to be doing in order to make sure that we're choosing in to our life all of the things that we need and want and that give us energy and help our mojo towards achieving our big edge.com goal, the big change you seek in your life. You need to collect everything in the world and the environment that works for you, that gets you jazzed, that works in the rhythm of your day, and so on and so forth. So I'll take a breath. Today, I'm going to do a little story time because I'm going to read something that I've already written on KindEdge.com, but I just wanted to readdress it in this way, in kind of the umbrella portion. So in KindEdge.com, we are working to help you achieve your big goal or the big change you seek in your life, to unlock the alternate ending to your life. If you've got everything in motion, but you're craving this other thing, you're seeing that before you retire, before you die, you want to see yourself doing this other thing that you've kind of put on hold, but you know the minutes are ticking and that it's getting important to do. We are unlocking that, but part of it is working on the foundation, the KindEdge 360. So I have a goal. I want to achieve this one goal. I want to be a screenwriter. I want to climb a mountain. I want to do this fitness thing. I want to change my relationships. Whatever your goal is, the project of you, as you shoot towards that one thing, you realize that you will get tripped up by a million other invisible pieces that I include in this process of, I call KindEdge 360, which is everything about your body, mind, soul, environment, and systems and processes need to be redesigned and recurated. I call it conscious curation, which is let's really look at this. Let's clean everything out. Let's put in place all the pieces that stack up so that my days flow forward in the project of me, in purpose of me, in flow with and in support of, to buoy the things I'm trying to achieve. We can't make our days harder. We can't constantly be up against the impossible. We have to say, what's going to make that flow downhill? What's going to make that work? It could be a different car. It could be a different relationship. It could be a different job. It could be a different way of handling your days. That's KindEdge 360. And when you redesign these things, consciously curate all of those elements, it clicks together and you are flowing downhill towards the project of you. And it's not impossible. And it's not up against all of the other warring currents in the world. People that demand your time, commitments, schedules, things that just always abut your goals. So conscious curation is part of KindEdge 360, and part of that is experimenting, because as you clean everything out and you carefully choose in the right people and the right things for your mind, your body, your soul, your community, your environment, and the systems and processes that work for you. As you do all of this work, you will narrow and narrow and narrow your choices, but it's also very valuable to have a continual process of experimentation and seeing what is just one experiment and what might become part of your new lifestyle. There was, I can name examples, but one was yoga. So I did very strenuous exercise. I did running. I did some dance. But when I started to include yoga, I saw it as just exercise. And then it grew roots into me. And power yoga, though it is exercise, hot power yoga, the fact that it is a mind and body connection is so valuable to me, and that it incorporates my mindfulness practice goals, and it has an alignment with so many things. It's become part of my foundation, and it's something I would never do without. Certain types of exercise can come and go as just a cool class or a fun thing to do or something to sweat. But yoga is that connection that's it's like having a meal. It's like my nourishment. And just as my workouts are, but this is a different kind of mind-body connection. So if I had not experimented with yoga, I wouldn't know how valuable that is as a buoy to all of my other goals. Everything just goes click, 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 and the day just rolls downhill once I've done my hot yoga. So that could be with everything. It could be going to new places. It could be a new church. It could be a new community. It could be, all of these things that you've never tried. And that might be quirky. And it could just be food for your brain to just do something completely new. You can there's a thing in my town called dark dancing. And there's a gathering in the dark of people doing silent dancing in the dark. So you could just those kind of funky things where you're like, well, I wouldn't do it every day. Maybe you would, but it's just great energy and food for days where I think we lock into what we know works. After you get off work and you go do this exercise class because you know it starts at 6:45, and that always works because you get off the train at that time. What if you do a little jagged edge experiment and maybe it won't work, but you try this other thing, or you go meet up at yoga on the beach? I live near all water. Everywhere around me is water. So there's beach yoga everywhere around me. But maybe it's a water sport. Maybe it's a language class. Maybe it's a musical instrument you've never tried. But all of these things, you can turn on little lights, turn on little neurotransmitters, run experiments, see what you would want to incorporate, and see if there's something that happens super early in the morning. Bird watchers that go bird watching very early in the morning. It might just kind of enliven new things in you and spark new ideas. And when you do these experiments, you'll see one time going to one new experimental experience starts to make you'll be sitting doing normal work or writing or your day job or interacting with a person, and you'll see these connections and you'll start to get these visual images that connect all these things. And it's like a little idea factory. These experiments are little idea factories for what you want to include more of in your life and what you can contribute and how you can solve problems, how you can connect things, how you can see similarities between how your air conditioner guy is working to fix something and you say, oh, that's similar to this other little problem I was solving in this other challenge. Remind me to find that picture of my dog that I painted because I'm pretty proud of it because it was so hard in the initial process simply to be able to see the differences in the colors. Returning to what I was saying about the gray bar, I would look and say, that's, a shiny yellow light because it's coming from the sun. And then it would turn out that that light was like blue, that a bit shining off his nose that looked like sunlight was blue. And I was like, no way. And then we all know primary colors and you mix primary colors to make the secondary colors. And when I was mixing colors, I was like, well, that color needs more white. When in fact, I would find out you needed to add some turquoise and some yellow to it to make it become what you were looking for. It was an education, such a worthy education. And here I am at my age. I did some art classes in school like everybody does, but I don't think it hit me as much as trying to do this type of real painting of a black dog. That was the other part, is I was painting a black dog. You would think the picture would be black and white, black and gray, black and a little yellow from the sunshine or something, but it was like a million colors. So we are going to do a story time. I'm just going to read what I've written on kindedge.com about experiments and my naked yoga experiment. So here we go. Story time. You work just fine. When your brain gets fried by noon and you lose your focused mojo at work, you're fine. When you fail to get yourself out on a daily 6-mile run, you're fine. When you accomplish no true learning or memorization despite having warmed a seat in the library for 6 hours, you're fine. You are not broken. You are not a misfit who needs to stretch further or push harder. You simply need to get to know you and build a world around you that works. We are nothing but funky shaped puzzle pieces, externally imposed daily schedules, demands on energies, and forced productivity time blocks assume that we're perfectly formed cubes that slip right into predefined slots in this world, but you're not. Though you may be zapped by 3 p.m., you push harder to pull high-value work out of yourself from your brain. Though you've pounded out many morning runs this week, you resist taking a play day and you replace that run with a sunny walk, a movement class, or just a morning stretch. When we seek to meet high expectations, we create a story in our minds that doing more, longer, and harder will achieve the best outcomes. And that story is fiction. Now, sit down and meet with this truth. Sit down with these parts of you and have a conversation. Your mind, your body, your soul, your environments, your processes. If you dig deep and you listen, your mind may reveal. If you take a slow morning walk and behold the sun on the horizon, I promise to fire up the brain neurotransmitters that will double your output for the day. See, your mind might be asking, take a break, do something different, and I'll give you more later. I'm not going to cry again. I swear to God, I cry. But when I hit the truths that took me decades to dig into, that I can put in one sentence, it literally almost gets me to cry. I'm glad. I always feel relieved when I write these things down and share them because I feel like I cannot believe I'm going to cry. I'm in a podcast room. I'm going to cry. It's taking all of these big learnings over decades and just getting it to a dense, simple, doable thing that you can use today. And I just feel relieved. I always feel like I handed that over. Now I can die. That's how I feel. I feel like all my stuff that's handwritten in boxes, once I get it written and shared, I'm like, there, that's one more that's handed over. So your body, going from mind to body, your body may disclose, if you help me do if you help me to do hard things, but build in playful recovery, I'll be stronger for you on the next go round. And the play is an addictive dopamine hit that will make it all easier for you to do on repeat again and again. That's what your body will do for you. The environments and processes in which you operate may offer this secret hack. If you set me up custom fit for you, not like anybody else needs it or wants it or does it, not the same process tools, not the same calendaring tool, not the same scheduling tool, whatever. If you set it up for you with an optimized balance of novel and known environments and structures, I, meaning these environments, will make all the hard things in the day feel like a downhill stroll. And your soul may say this to you: I am the keeper of a secret, limitless source of energy and drive. If you want to tap into that source, feed me new experiences, experiments, environments, and ways of doing things. Light up all my senses. And when you hit the right spots, I'll let you know by sending a thrilling zing up your spine. Show me new experiences and I'll unlock energies of joy, interest, passion, creativity, drive, purpose, and more. Experimentos. So one day when my son was very young, he turned his bathroom into a chem lab. Bottles, bubbles, liquids, gels, purple things, blue blobs, greenish goo were everywhere. He said he was creating a perfume for me, and I thanked him, keeping the poison control center's number close at hand. Experimentos, he declared with each completed concoction. I loved the spirit of my mad little scientist. This term has endured in our home as a way to play with whatever life throws at us. It carries a mindset of play when things break, a joy in testing the unknown, and an openness to simply see what comes of a new venture, not to control the outcome. So this term experimentos is part of the KindEdge 360 concept, which is experimentos. Let's just try this. Let's go. Bespoke. Experimentos is a way to get to know yourself and what best feeds your brain's cycles, your body's energies, and your soul's reward systems. Experimentos is a venture for the purpose of discovery, seeking the opportunity to scientifically observe, not to judge. And you'll see on, for example, in my LinkedIn profile, I've got my professional title, but I also say my primary title is Infinite Self Kaizen, that I am dedicated to this concept of infinite self Kaizen, which is continual improvement without judgment. So let's just see what works, keep it, do more of that, do another experiment, throw out what doesn't work, no judgment. We just keep it in motion. In the past, I endured days and weeks that felt like a series of jolts and jagged edges. In many awkward stops and starts, I fit in all the things, right? We all do all the things. I exercised at the nearest gym. I was always rushing to get booked for the only class on their schedule that could be squeezed into my schedule. Demands from work and kids poured into all the gaps in my day with no safety valve or shutoff valve. I put all my energies into serving that unregulated influx of demand. Unregulated influx of demand. That is not conscious curation. That is unregulated influx of demand on your life and your time. Rather than building up my muscle for change to redesign, renegotiate, and reimagine how all that could work and feel smooth, rewarding, and right fit for me, I went deep on myself over many years, parsing out every element of my day into tiny experiments. I went deep on the science of my body and my health. I researched my autoimmune diseases and the related stage 3 metastasized thyroid cancer I'd championed. I geeked out on my multiple genetic tests and optimized my vitamins and nutrition to support the gene SNPs that were identified and had been causing me deficiencies, anemia, and other challenges, methylation problems, and so on. I played with every aspect of my circadian and ultradian rhythms, from wake and sleep cycles to light exposure to breathing and eye movements to lengths of deep work windows. I learned my deep work windows of time. I experimented with deep work. They say some people should work in 30-minute segments. No, it's not Pareto principle. It's the the word for, what's the Italian word for tomato? Anyhow, it's the 30-minute segments. And for me, the ultradian rhythm, the longer end of the ultradian rhythm that's known in people, I'm more of a 90-minute to 2-hour focus. I like to go really deep, completely zoom, and then I kind of come up for air and I go, okay, now let's refresh. But you've got to learn you. Some people are the 30-minute, I forgot the word for it, but the 30-minute time work, play, work, break cycle. Okay, back to reading. I experimented with getting up at 4 a.m. and loved it for a few months until I observed that this became a lossy battery. Over time, I'd lose steam and eventually bonk midday. I played around a bit more and I discovered that 5:30 a.m. wake-up times are a superpower for me, enabling my mind to rev excitedly for a few hours on offense and then being ready when the rest of the world puts me on defense. I experimented with workout types, places, and times. I saw that although I considered workouts to be me time, the gyms I was using placed me as a beggar or a servant to their schedules and their registration apps. I experimented with aggregating the types of work that energize my mind and stacked my day around that. I determined when I'm creative, when I'm task oriented, and where in the day I should cram administrivia and doctor appointments because my brain is fried anyway. I tried hot things, cold things, and learned to love hot yoga and saunas. I found that they're fabulous for me about twice a week, and any more is a little bit overdoing it. The hot yoga place where I do hot yoga, mind you, we're already in Florida, but we're doing really high powered power yoga in 105 degrees with the floor heated, with the air hot, with the overhead heat beams. Like it's hot. I experimented with planning, goal setting, and task tracking practices from online tools, offline products, and blended methods and learned what worked for me. I experimented with everything to which I exposed my eyes, my ears, my nose, my mouth, my skin, and my mind. I figured out all the people, places, and things that were great for just once, or great to do on the regular, or not something I would choose to do again. I came out of this with a pretty little Excel spreadsheet checklist of the components of my perfect day. It lays out a custom fit daily arc that works in flow with my brain's wiring and my body's energies. Tiny details like placing 64 ounces of water next to my bed every night to make it easy for me to start the day with hydration, make having my best day easy and default. Starting the day hydrated makes me feel like a rock star. And I get gosh darned righteous about having accomplished such a healthy act by 6 a.m. that feeling snowballs into an entire day of downhill feeling productivity. And literally, hydration, I didn't know for years how much, if I forgot to hydrate in the morning, I would have these like tense, jagged, edged days and things just and getting hungry at the wrong time and then not feeling energized. And I was like, what was different about that day? And I would look at my little edge tracker of like, what's the recipe for good days? On the good days, I had that water prepared the night before next to my bed. On the jagged edge days, I had not put that water next to my bed. Well, I needed to get a water container that only always sat by my bed. I needed to build this evening ritual. Once I did that, it was by the time I was walking into the bathroom, after the shower, I was drinking the water, brilliant. Easiest little problem solver. That's what we're doing in KindEdge. We're making all the days go do. What is the trick? What is the thing that worked? And we stack it all up. I'll give another thing is on really busy days. And when I'm here, I do multiple things. Then I go here, I'm downtown, I'm doing a bunch of things. And if I'm doing all of these things, when I get home and I do fasting, so when I get home, I'm like hungry and that kind of thing. If I go home and my dog's looking at me going, I've been inside all day, I feel guilty about him, but I feel like I need to feed myself. And so guess what? I was like, those are the days I absolutely need to take Donovan, my dog, to doggy daycare. So this morning, up early, got him to the early doggy daycare. He's at doggy daycare playing. He's in a water park. He's having an awesome time. So at the end of the day, when I'm running around doing all these things and I finally go home and I want to chill and have my meal and not feel guilty about my dog needing to go outside, I feel great because he's looking at me going, I had the best day ever. I just want to chill out. So we're like both having similar days, and that's what works versus the jagged edge of doing. I don't want to become a martyr where I do so many big things all day. And then I go home just to feel guilty about my dog. And then I'm kind of having that tension. Make it all roll downhill. Make all the math work together. Little tricks. But you have to do the science up front. You have to do the experiments. You have to try different doggy daycares. You have to try different schedules. You have to try different days. So without experiments, you never prove or disprove anything. Without experiments, you never prove or disprove anything. If you have always started your workday at 8 a.m., you do not know if your productivity could be doubled or your workday halved by starting at 5 a.m. or 10 a.m. And without proof of what works best for you, you'll never go to bat to negotiate those changes with the outside world. Experimenting ensures your daily rhythms are well-informed design choices. If you can get your rhythms right, you become a sustainably self-recharging battery. You fit the world to you versus the other way around. So this is the adult mature stance, which is you're not a little boy, you're not a little girl. The world isn't the boss and you're not the little worker. You are the boss of everything that impacts you in the world. You redesign taste testing at the buffet. Over the years, I amassed hundreds of change-related activities that I built for myself and am now working to publish as this thing I call KindEdge. KindEdge is about implementing big life changes via safe, easy, sustainable is kind, steps that push you past your uncomfortable edge. That uncomfortable edge is often something that has blocked your progress, be that avoidance of tough conversations, self-denial of ambitions, or fear of taking on new lifestyle without control over the outcome. In short, KindEdge is about unlocking something that's been percolating in the back of your mind and giving you a safe path to make it happen in real life. Experiments are important for designing a custom fit rhythm in your day, but they are also a great way to start unlocking all the muted ideas and desires in your mind. Playing with the new and novel experiences is the buffet of your soul. Your travel is a great way to tap into new interests and ideas. I'm not hung up on travel right now. I've lived overseas multiple times. I've traveled extensively. I've walked down dark alleys and lonely staircases in Beijing and Shanghai alone. I've swum in the ocean in South Africa at night. I've donned only a bra and red panties in the northernmost waters of the Scottish Hebrides. And lately, I've been experimenting with experiences I can fit casually into any given week. Some experiments have been duds, and others have warmed my soul. A few years back, I discovered a private little community of bluegrass fans who gather in a farm in the middle of nowhere to host and enjoy the music of traveling bluegrass bands who simply need a place to sleep when they make the long trek from the Carolinas down to Miami for gigs. I relished those gatherings, and they informed me on the feelings and types of people I seek to make more present in each day. A few of the next items in my local to-do list include riding water horses, attending a dark dance happening, doing a shark tooth dive, snorkeling lagoons and water caves, fitting in some country dance. I may also return to a naked yoga class that I attended last summer. The candlelit class included journaling, introspection, sharing with 8 or 9 other women in the class, and naked yoga. It's hard to read these things. All the therapy, self-help books, and journaling in the world hold nothing to the rapid-fire self-confidence one grows when in a downward dog position in a class full of naked bodies. I gave birth to both of my boys at Stanford Hospital in Palo Alto, California. And as it is a teaching hospital, there are times when a mother in labor may have her knees spread wide open, privates, fully dilated, and at least a basketball team's worth of medical students peering into the abyss. Somehow I came out of that experience still retaining a bit of my girlish modesty and timidity about my naked body's appearance. But graduates of this naked yoga class truly level up. When all your googly bits are in motion, upside down, right side up, sideways, backwards, and in between, you just get over it. This is the importance of experimentation. It accelerates growth of your mind and mindset. It clarifies focus and desire. Many times we'll carry guilt that we've delayed trying something only to discover once we do that we don't like it, and check that off your list. Keep what you love, card the others, but be willing to try a little bit of everything. Experimenting in all parts of your life will cultivate the garden of your mind, and good will grow all around you. Wishing you a mindset of experimentos in 360 degrees of the minutes in the minutes that remain, the minutes of your life that remain. So and I'll just wrap up what I wrapped up with here is I'm committed to sharing this project because after decades of dead ends with guru books and inspo content, I finally found what works. The end product is a series of repeatable steps that can help everyone, including you. I went deep to pile drive my goals through the waves of chaos that held me on hold. I could not make real progress in rare, stolen, barely there me time on a Sunday night. So I built a series of 15-minute steps and decision guides that would fit into any gap in my chaotic days. I go on, whether it's 4 a.m. coffee time, airport time, midnight campouts in a hospital emergency room for my kids. These small steps, the KindEdge steps, daisy chain together into a bridge to real change. I guided myself like I guide my change management corporate clients, and it finally worked. Here's to us taking the next step on a sustainable, kind path to push beyond your uncomfortable edge that moves us forward to the most fulfilling part of this journey. Cheers, cin-cin, and hugs. So that was story time for today, and I just wanted to connect with all of you to introduce and invite you to take on this mindset of experimentos, taste testing the world, because the way you live between now and the end of your life should energize you, spark your ideas, make new connections, and support the lifestyle and the big life change and the big goal you have, that thing in the back of your head that you crave, that you want, the lifestyle you want to be living, the goal, the education you want, the job you want, the career you want, the relationship change you want. Build the foundation to make all of that possible, rolling in line with what works for you. So join me on this KindEdge journey. It is not going to be easy, but it's going to be fun. And stay in touch, enroll by email, and follow me on social media. Please share this with other people. And check out kindedge.com. Peace.